Hi students, this is Vasudev Panda. Welcome to Master of English. Welcome to another class. Yes, the discussion of question and answer of Mystery of the Missing Cap, the story by Manoj. हेले आज आम टेक्स्ट बेस्ड क्वेश्चन जी बही प्रश्न अच्छी सब प्रश्न समाधान करवा ये वीडियो रे आम या पूर्व 5टा जाक यूनिट पढ़ी सारीचे सरल ओडिया रे ठीक अच्छे आउ ये वीडियो सरला परे हम जीवा मैराथन क्विज टेस्ट एमसीक्यू को सेटा नेक्स्ट क्लास रे देखिबा ठीक अछि ताले आरंभ करबा आजिरो समस्त प्रश्न जति प्रश्न सब बही रे अछि सब प्रश्न तार उत्तर सब कौन हम को गुड़ा प्रोबेबल क्वेश्चन आंसर हम देखा ये आउ गोटे कथा कहबी मु जोरा कहूँ सेटा ही ठीक हम आउ सेटा अलगा उपाय लेखा जाई परिबो नहीं सेमती हुए नहीं इंग्लिश रे गोटे प्रश्नर उत्तर को विभिन्न स्टाइल रे लेखा जाई परिबो तमे निजस्व स्टाइल रे तमे भी लेखि परिबो बट कीवर्ड्स शुड बी सेम से कीवर्ड गुड़ाक समान हेबा दरकार नहले भाषा आम निजस्व भाषा रे लेखि पारिबा ठीक अच्छे आरंभ करबा प्रथम प्रश्न सो व्हाट इंप्रेशन ऑफ श्री महाराणा डू यू गेट फ्रॉम द टेक्स्ट तो ये जो टेक्स्ट रू ये जो बही रू तुम ये जो स्टोरी पढ़िल एथु तुम महाराणा विषय रे कौन जानिल बाबू महाराणा विषय तो कौन लिखिबा उत्तर मिस्टर महाराणा had the only pakka house in the area of 20 village. He was a well-to-do man. He was a conscientious and generous person. He had 2 ponds full of choice fish, and he had welfare of cows. Welfare for cows. He was a happy villager. He was a patriot, an ambitious fellow who wanted to enter state legislature by the help of Minister Babu Birkishore. Question number 2. Who is Babu Birkishore? How does the narrator describe him? तो कौन कहबा बाबू बिरकिशोर is the Minister of Fisheries and Fine Arts at the time the story was narrated. And according to the author, the writer you can say, according to the writer. So question number 2. Who is Babu Birkishore? How does the narrator describe him? Babu Birkishore was the Minister of Fisheries and Fine Arts hailed from the district of Mr. Maharana, and he was a Swadeshi minister. Yes or no? And to fulfill his desire to become a legislature, Mr. Maharana arranged a reception. Yes or no? Mr. Maharana arranged a reception to get his blessings as he wanted to debate in the politics. Question number 3. What idea of the narrator do you get from his this unit of the text? What idea of the narrator? Narrator को को idea टा तुम इसको पाइलो. So the narrator was a small boy when the incident was occurred. जेतेबेले ये घटनाटा घटितिला. And he used to visit his uncle's house, which was near Sri Maharana's house. So he just got a good chance to observe that incident, and his intention is not to criticize or mock Sri Maharana or Babu Birkishore. Instead of that, he wants to convey the sympathy he had stored for both of them. Question number 4. How does the narrator recount the preparation for the minister reception? कि भलिया से मंत्री को रिसेप्शन विषय से कही छंती एठी हम देखिबा. So Mr. Maharana became the chairman of the reception committee and arranged a reception for Babu Birkishore for his blessings. Yes or no? And for this reason he spent day and night examining and re-examining the arrangements. Yes or no? And the school children, the LP school children rather, they just devoted their afternoon for the preparation of welcome song, and his ancestral Mr. Maharaja's ancestral chair was laid with linen cover on which the village seamstress bought laced two pair of errand. Okay, now let us see, think it out. Number two, unit two. How does the narrator describe the procession of the minister in the village? ମନ୍ତ୍ରୀଙ୍କର ଯେଉଁ ଶୋଭାଯାତ୍ରା ଥିଲା ତାକୁ କିଭଳି ବର୍ଣ୍ଣନା କରାଯାଇ ଅଛି? So, at the outskirts of the village, the minister was garlanded by Mr. Maharana, and he was requested to re-enter the jeep as the destination was a furlong away. Yes or no? And at the time, people of the villages, even if the invalids, they were shouting Bharat Mata ki jai, Babu Bir Kishore ki jai. And like this, Mr. Minister was led to Maharana's house in a grand procession. Question number 2, unit 2. How did Sri Maharana entertain his guests? So the guests, after their arrival, were treated with tender coconut juice, and immediately after that, in the lunch, there were 20 dishes along with sweetened ghee-baked rice. Yes or no? And the minister ate heartily and get to sleep. Now unit 3, third unit. How did the minister's cap disappear? मन्त्रीको टोपी किभଳି हजिला? How did the minister's cap disappear? So after eating his lunch, Mr. Minister departed to his cabin, which was separated, which was meant for him. And while he was sleeping at that time, notoriously irresponsible Gendu entered the room, took away the cap. Yes or no? And went away to the grove. In this way, the minister's cap disappeared from the room. Question number 2. How did the minister official react to the disappearance of the cap? And after the cap was being disappeared, his entourage, the person of his entourage, minister's entourage, they searched here and there for the cap, but they didn't find it. Yes or no? And they said it was a deep-rooted conspiracy, and the public relation officer said the honorable minister doesn't mind the loss of the cap so much as the way it disappeared. Question number 3. How did Sri Maharana feel about the loss of the cap? महाराणांकर रिएक्शन कौन थिला टोपी हजिबाकू नहीं किनी? Mr. Maharana was found shaking. Yes or no? Mr. Maharana, after he didn't found the cap, he was found shaking, and he was sweating like an ice cream. He was sweating like an ice cream stick so profusely that at that rate he might completely melt away in a few hours. Question number 4. How did he feel when he came to know the cause of the missing of the cap? एटी ही कहले महाराणा कौन अनुभव कले जो जानी पारले? So as you know, the minister's cap was lost. Sri Maharana looked angry and tensed. He started trembling in the meantime, and after the writer told him the story that Gendu had taken the cap, he stood dumb for a moment, eyes closed. Then he smiled a bit like a patient whose disease is diagnosed all right, but it was incurable. And he told the writer not to disclose the secret, and after he will reward him. Question number 5. What is the effect of disappearance of the cap on the ceremony? The disappearance of the cap put a wet blanket on the occasion. Yes or no? And from the sepulchral silence of the minister room, intermittent coughing came. Anxiety tamped the spirit of the people in the courtyard and on the veranda. Question number 6. How did the narrator pulse means friends, react to the situation? What happens? Okay, let's see. How did the narrator pulse react to the situation? So we have to remember se kon koriଥିଲେ se डालकोटा हिथिला फांसी दिया हबो जेल को जिवे So the narrator's friends were full of anxiety. One said the thief would be hanged in the big penitentiary and some twigs have been already caught, has been kept ready. Another said all the villagers will be thrown into jail. Some of them believed that the cap might have ministerial power. It was just like Aladdin's lamp. ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ଦେଖିବା ପିଲେ ଆମେ 3 नंबर. How did the narrator describe the opening ceremony? Opening ceremony को किभली describe करिचंती? So the minister and Maharana came to the pandal, means the reception stage. At the time, what happens? The minister sat on his chair and he was being garlanded by the one of the high school going girl of the area, that was the niece of Sri Maharana. And after that, the chorus sung, O Mighty Minister was sung with musical instrument in Kirtan style. And thereafter Mr. Maharana grabbed mic and gave a speech for just 1 hour, recounting the chronological account of Babu Bir Kishore. Question number 2. How did Sri Maharana explain the reason behind the missing of the cap? Reason टाको किभली से वर्णना करें? Mr. Maharana explained the matter as it was the cap was not lost. A noble man of the area had taken it to preserve it and worship it. And he added that if he had asked the minister to take the cap, the minister, who is a symbol of humility, may not have permitted him to take it as a secret memento or etc. And he had, given 101 rupees for the use of the minister. What impression of Sri Maharana do we get from this unit of the text? From this unit, it was very clear that Mr. Maharana was a pakka politician and a good person. He had innovative talent. Yes or no? He explained reason for the missing cap in a beautiful manner. He had to lie, but the circumstance pushed him to lie before thousands of people. So, last unit, how did the minister find out the mystery of the missing cap? Kivoli janiba paile. At the time of departure, minister was served a glass of sweetened curd, and when he was just about to wash his mouth and came to the rear veranda, at the time Gendu just came like bolt from blue and sit between Mr. Maharana and Bir Kishore, the minister. And the minister was surprised to look at the cap, and he asked whether it was the nobleman who had taken his cap. And Maharana didn't tell anything, but fantastically clarified that yes, it was the nobleman. And like this, he came to know. Question number 2. What role did Gendu play in the story? Did he bring an anti-climax to the story? Give a reason. Gendu exactly opened their eyes. Gendu had played a role that had opened the eyes of the minister and Babu Bir Kishore, as he had took away the minister's cap when he was asleep. When it was not found, Sri Maharana said an imaginary story that a nobleman had taken it to preserve it and to worship it. And listening that, the minister looked glad, and after he came to listen all those things, and he just knew that his eyes were opened. So that's all from the question and answer part of the mystery of the missing cap. See you in the next video. we'll go for a marathon quiz test, revision test on the MCQ. Okay, thanks for watching.